You are now listening to the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.
Welcome to They Live by Film, a platform dedicated to bringing you film discussion and interviews from around the world. I am Adam Lundy, and I am joined as always by my co-hosts Chris Haskell and Zach Bryant.
Hello.
Happy August.
Yeah, or I should say Sawatika.
I don't know what that means.
That's Thai. That's Thai.
Okay. I was like, I don't know if I'm supposed to get that or not. Good.
I should have known that because the latest season of White Lotus was in Thailand and they use that a lot. So you said it, and I'm like, I've heard this before. It's because of the White Lotus.
This is off topic. The only thing I know about White Lotus is the guy who made it likes to be on Survivor.
I just know that the guy who made it is Jack Black's roommate from School of Rock.
I'm so glad he's had such a career then. He's got to be Jack Black's roommate and be on Survivor, I think, twice.
Wait, White Lotus is that like mystery show, right? That's on?
Yeah, it's a show from HBO. There's been 3 seasons. They all take place in a different resort of this hotel chain called the White Lotus.
I've been meaning to watch that actually.
It's pretty good. The second season was the best of the 3. The other 2 are all pretty good. You kind of watch them for the cast and the kind of the characters rather than the actual plot itself. It always starts with like a mystery person dies, and then you spend the rest of the season trying to figure out who it was that died as it goes back to like usually like a week before or whatever.
Oh yeah.
And then you'll kind of piece together and stuff. But like nobody actually really gives a shit about the mystery. It's actually pretty secondary. It's just kind of you just watch it just for the characters because they always have really great casts. So I'd recommend even just like checking out the cast list for each of the series. They're just like it's just full of like proper like these are like actual movie stars, that come and be in this show.
That's cool.
Yeah. So we're back a little bit later than planned due to Chris getting drunk at a karaoke bar and not showing up to our last recording.
Sorry.
Not exaggeration.
I'm actually probably being kind. Probably a lot worse than karaoke was going on. But before we get into things, any other business? I only have I've been so busy. I can just ream through mine super quick if you want.
Do it.
I watched Hot Fuzz. There's nothing more to say. It's Hot Fuzz. It's awesome. I've seen it a million times. I don't know why I said Chris. Neve, my wife, had never seen it.
What a mix-up.
I'm flattered.
You can tell that it's after 10 p.m. here. I'm tired. I usually go to bed this time. Neve had never seen it, so I was like, cool, let's watch it. Because we drove through this town that reminded me of the town in Hot Fuzz. It was actually really weird because the town in Hot Fuzz is very quintessentially English, but obviously we were still in Ireland. It's just a town I'd never been in. And I was walking around going like, this is the most English town I've ever been. It's so weird. And then I was started singing. Because at the time I started listening to the Kinks a lot. This is about 6 weeks ago now. I was listening to a lot of the Kinks, and especially the Village Green Preservation Society album. And I was just walking around the town singing that song, and I'm like, what movie is that song in? And I was like, oh, it's fucking Hot Fuzz. And I was like, okay, well, I'm gonna watch Hot Fuzz. So watched Hot Fuzz. Hot Fuzz is awesome. If you've somehow never seen it, you need to change that. If I have one criticism, it's slightly too long. There was
That's a right problem. Yeah, I think
it is a right problem
in general.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it a million times, so I know everything about it. But as it was all being put together, I'm like, I feel like we should be moving faster here, but we're not.
Yep.
Yeah, Hot Fuzz great. Rewatched the first Naked Gun movie, because I haven't seen it since I was a teenager, and Neve wants to see the new one, but she had never seen any of them. So I was like, cool, let's watch the first one because it's funny, and it's funny. So there we go, Naked Gun. I still prefer Airplane if we're talking about Zucker brother joints.
Damn, these are all such heavy hitters, though.
I'm more of an airplane guy, but Naked Gun's fun time. It's a good time.
I mean, there's
Um,
less of double murderers in Airplane though.
yeah, exactly. I think, you got more hijinks there. Um, I watched Death Wish. Um, it was fine. Um, and I watched a movie last night called Materialists. This is a 2025 movie, so hold on to your seats. I watched a new movie. It's the new Celine song. Celine Song? Yeah, Celine Song is her name. I'm 99% sure. Yeah, Celine Song. It's a new Celine Song movie. She made Past Lives, which was one of my favorite movies of 2023.
Yeah, you're
Really
crazy
beautiful
about it.
film. This one unfortunately does not hit. Um, it definitely got stronger as it went along, as it has this. It's basically it's kind of like a deconstruction of a rom-com. It's not really a rom-com, but like it has all the pieces that would normally be in a rom-com. It follows Dakota Johnson. She works at a matchmaking firm in New York. She meets Pedro Pascal, who basically is the perfect man. He's rich, he's kind, he's good looking, he blah 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 ticks every like, and she looks at this like really analytically. I read a review from someone who said it was like Wall Street but for matchmaking, because
Okay.
Dakota John's character just looks at like romance and love like very analytically, and it's a numbers game and algorithms, blah blah blah. And he, quote unquote, like checks every box. He is the perfect match. But then she's also kind of strung along by her ex-boyfriend, who's this down on his luck actor played by Chris Evans. And they broke up because, she obviously wants a better life for herself. He still lives in a shitty apartment with roommates and, doing shitty theater gigs and working, part-time as a caterer and stuff. So it kind of goes as back and forth. Like, will she take what is mathematically the better match for her and go with Pedro Pascal, who, to be fair, like, it's not like he's like usually in these movies that turn out like he's like a dickhead or like a shithead or whatever. And he's not like he's a perfectly nice guy. It would be perfectly fine if she did just go down that path. But then also there's the whole thing, where she just has this chemistry with Chris Evans' character and they have history. And even though there's a lot of issues with their relationship, they can't help but really, just dig each other. So it has all the pieces of a rom com, but it's not really played like a rom com. The cinematography is very good. It's a very nice looking film. It's directed pretty well. I will say the cast is not great. I've never actually seen Dakota Johnson in anything, I don't think. And she's not particularly good in this, at least. Pedro Pascal's character is very underwritten. He is there just to kind of be that perfect match. So like he's not like it's Pedro Pascal, but like he doesn't have the charm that he normally brings to roles. So he was weirdly vanilla in this film. Chris Evans probably plays the most interesting character. Probably the most complex one. Um, and even then, it still kind of goes ways that you would just expect them to go. Apart from this kind of there's like a small subplot that doesn't really affect the main plot at all. But there's a small subplot in this film that is very different from what you would expect for these type of movies. That was very interesting and very well done, but it couldn't save it as a whole, unfortunately. And it's also very long. It's nearly 2 hours long, which for this kind of movie is much too long. Interestingly, I'm just looking at the cast list here, and I realize that there's actually two nepo babies in this movie, um, because you have Louisa Jacobson. Does anyone know who Louisa Jacobson is?
No.
It's Meryl Streep's daughter.
Yeah.
And then you also have a guy, and I didn't know he was in this, and I've just noticed his surname, and I was like, is that who I think it is? And then I just clicked on his profile, and it is. We have Sawyer Spielberg.
Oh
You can
God.
probably guess who his dad is. But yeah, they're both in this movie, which I didn't realize at the time, when I was watching it or anything like that. But yeah, Materialist 2025 movie. It was fine. It started off really bad. Like and this is what really shocked me because the script in Past Lives is so good. The script of this at parts is really bad, like really amateur, cringy dialogue that like I would feel weird putting it on paper. and I'm not a writer, you know what I mean? Like there was some segments in this where the writing, like the first 20 minutes are fucking rough. And me and Neve were like, will we even finish this? Like, will we just turn this off? And I'm like, no, I don't do that.
Uh,
I'm gonna power through. And it did get better in some parts, but then there were other parts that again were not great. Um but yeah, that's me. That's all I've watched. I've been busy.
well, I almost likely never watched that movie based on
Mm.
what you're saying about it.
Yeah, I would. It's not the kind of type of film I would recommend to either of you guys.
That sounds miserable. uh, I don't know, Zach. Have you watched a lot of movies? Because I haven't seen that many either. I could go
I
next if
want to know Zach's count because I we're getting close to a particular milestone film.
let's see. Hold on one
Where
second. He's if he's not at. Let's see. We're in mid-August. If he's not at 300 now, you're falling. He's falling behind.
Well, how about you go next, and then I will reveal my number, and Adam can talk about what I'm being forced to watch.
Oh, fab.
Okay. So I'll be somewhat quick. Most of my movie watching has come from planes because I took two 14 and a half hour flights and got some movie watching done on those flights. But in the last few days, I've seen Argento's The Card Player, which have either one of y'all seen that from 2003?
No, I thought the Vinegar Syndrome release looked good, but I was also like, early 2000s Argento does not sound like a good movie.
No, Adam knows what I'm going to say here because
Yeah.
he was on the Discord. But imagine an Argento movie that has no visual flair and relies purely on the writing.
That sounds terrible. Why would he do that?
Yeah, that's pretty much what I said in the Discord yesterday.
Like, I mean, I hate to, like there are if it's 103 minutes, there are 10 interesting minutes in the movie, right? But it's just really bad. And I'm sorry, I love Dario Argento, and I was trying to be an apologist, but the whole setup, um, I'm trying. The only way this movie would have worked is if somebody had told me this is a somebody's first film and it's an SOV movie, um, and they were just trying to put some horror stories together. Then I would have given it a break. But for somebody at the tail end of their career, I just the oh just and once you know the people that are involved, like score by Claudio Simonetti, written by Franco Ferrini, it's like it's an all-star cast and crew, and well, not cast, but crew, and they just laid a stinker. I mean, there's no other way to put it. It's just really rough. You know what it is? It feels like you remember how the Saw sequels and the Hellraiser sequels, they kind of made the franchises into these like detective stories.
I mean, in fairness to Saw, they did that in the first one, but yeah, I know what you're saying, especially with Hellraiser.
And I'm a defender of the Hellraiser sequels. I like those actually. I'm maybe one of their few defenders. But this feels like in that type of universe where it's like some detective story thrown together kind of in a horror world. I saw Young Gary Monster from the Deep. You're going to notice a trend here. These are all the new Vinegar Syndrome titles. I had seen that movie before. I watched it with the commentary from Sam Deegan. Interesting thing about the most interesting fact I learned from that. No, I don't know if y'all know what Young Gary is. So there's a Korean kaiju movie. So they were trying to make it was made in 1967, kind of off the success of Godzilla. They're trying to make one of these monster movie franchises. So they made a Korean version. But there is a filmmaker from South Korea that not the Young Gary director, but somebody who worked on the movie, who was later kidnapped and forced to make movies in North Korea for the rest of his life, and including another monster movie, another kaiju movie. So there's a North Korean kaiju movie now that I kind of want to see. It's called Pulgasari. Um, but anyways, with these kaiju films, like these monster films from Japan and Korea, you kind of know what you're getting into. I'd say this one is exactly like it sounds in the genre. And then I saw both Carrie and Carrie 2, The Rage.
It's still
And
wild to me that you had never seen De Palma's Carrie. Like I'm still like trying to
Hey,
comprehend that.
Adam
Well,
still hasn't seen it.
no, I still haven't seen it,
And
so it's me.
it's I don't know if I had known this, I would have picked that. I did a Stephen King week. I would have fucking picked that.
Well, I just thought you wanted to pick shit ones. So,
Ah, fuck you. We got Night Flyer and Christine.
oh wait, I
Drama
know
would have been
Christine
perfect
was
for that.
fun.
Yeah.
Christine was fun to be fair.
Comment stand. Um, okay, so first of all, Carrie is great. You know what? It really feels like way more akin to something like what's the? I'm just sorry, I'm struggling for the name of the movie. The Witch Who Came from the Sea, or one of those where it's got that kind of dreamlike quality to it. Way more than I was expecting.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
It's well, I hate to say better made because I love Witch Who Came from the Sea, but I mean it's a proper full scale budget production. It's it's made very well. Um, but it was not the movie I was expecting at all. Um, it I like it though. I definitely want to see it again after now that I kind of know what it is versus what it isn't. The reason it it was kind of a good timing because I finished reading Carrie on the plane coming back. So I had that book was very fresh in my mind and then saw the movie and it deviates from the book in kind of some important ways, but nothing that really hurt the story, I don't think. Um, and then I'm gonna defend Carrie too. It's weird going from Carrie to Carrie 2. It's really weird transition. But it definitely is canon. Like they even talk about how telekinesis can transfer through the father. They take that through line from the novel and bring it into the story so it's canon. They somehow convinced the original production team to let them put in footage from the first one, which kind of blows my mind given how different this movie is. Have either one of y'all seen Carrie 2?
I watched it when I was a kid on some
Okay.
channel. I know I've seen it, but I don't remember much about it. I do
Yeah,
remember liking it, but
I've seen Carrie too.
yeah, that would make sense for Adam.
I'm only joking. Obviously, I haven't.
Hey, like I've also seen the Angela Bettis TV version that came out in 2002. Just haven't seen the
Just not the
I've
first
also
one.
only ever seen Jaws: The Revenge.
I would actually respect the hell out of that if all you'd ever seen. Like I watched the one that had an Oscar winner in it, obviously.
Carrie 2 is like imagine if 10 Things I Hate About You or any one of these like 90 teen comedies was had the exact same aesthetic, exact same cast, but was a drama instead of a comedy. With some horror elements thrown in. Like it's like it has, Mallrats, the main guy from Mallrats is Jeremy London. He was in a few other things too. But apparently he had a brother named Jason, and Jason's in this. And they have a very distinctive 90s, like dumb lead actor kind of look to them. But it's just it's one of like the prototypical 90s movies. But I kind of liked it. Like I think they did a good job and they recreated like instead of it being a dance, like at the end of Carrie, it's all based around the prom dance or the end of school year dance. Yeah, prom, I think, right? So instead of prom, this one's based around a big after school party. But I don't know. I mean, like I liked it way more than I thought I would. Let me just say it that way. I'll defend it. It kept me engaged, and the listening to the director talk about it, she has absolutely no idea which way is up or down. Like the things that she was talking about, she was proud of were the worst parts of the movie, and and I, she's a mess based on the commentary, but she made something fun and engaging. So I got a lot out of it. It was fun. The other thing I finally watched Expendables 1 and 2 on one of the plane rides. Uh, they were pretty much exactly what I expected. Expendables 2 is much better than the first one. Um, but they're silly. You kind of I don't know. Have y'all ever seen any of those?
I have not.
I mean, I'm
I
not gonna
think you can probably guess my answer.
I'm not gonna recommend them or anything, but they're perfect for a long plane ride because they're you just like time flies by. And then speaking of perfect for a long plane ride, so I actually came into the Singapore to Seattle flight, which was like 15 and a half hours. I came into that one underprepared. So I was like, shit, what do I do? So I just decided to watch, they had every single Pirates of the Caribbean movie on there. And I decided to get through as many as I could on the flight.
Please
Um,
say you stopped after three. You just stopped after three, right?
I didn't even make it through three. I kind of, I fell asleep for a while and then they served a meal and I like would watch the movie during that and then I got distracted and stood up. So I only made it through about two and a half. But they're fun, man. I like them. Like I mean, they are, they're kind of popcorn movies, right? But like, I think they're good. I wish I had seen them sooner. I like them.
I mean,
Like,
your kid's getting about the age. You should watch them with him. That's like the age I watched them.
no, totally. And he's actually his attention span's getting a little bit longer. We watched the Penguins of Madagascar yesterday, and he actually sat through the whole thing. So I think his attention span's getting to the point where we can start watching stuff. But yeah, no, I mean, like, I have no hate on the Pirates movies. I think they age pretty well. They're just silly, the budget on these is shocking. I think the third one I was looking up might have been like $300 or $400 million budget.
I mean, did you notice like the thing I always talk about the third one? I don't know if you were asleep during the beginning of three or if you had watched it.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's still wild that a Disney movie started with hanging of a 10-year-old boy to start the movie.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's like we're just
That's
gonna
true.
do that. Like
That's true.
I respect it. I respect it a lot. I was like, man, Disney wouldn't do that now.
No, that's true. That like goes back to the 80s and 90s when they were just throwing all sorts of really nasty shit into movies with kids, right? But into kids movies, I mean. But yeah, no, I mean, I have no hate for the Pirates movies. I'm not gonna do a podcast episode on them, but they're fun. They're nice, easy watches. I'm
I
sure.
think Verbinski, like going through a lot of his action stuff, is actually really worth it. He's got a good eye for it.
Yeah.
He does a lot of big elaborate set pieces, and they're very well put together and shot. I think oh yeah, we watched one of his. We did Cure for Wellness, so he did that, but that one's not action,
Yeah.
obviously. But you should watch Rango if you want to watch something with your kid. Watch Rango. He did
Okay.
that. It's
Okay.
really good.
Okay. Yeah, but I'll stop there. I mean, I think there might have been a few other small things, but I'll stop there. I've just been busy. I'll just share this one quick anecdote from the trip. So we had, if you can imagine, a bunch of 43-year-olds, 42 and 43-year-olds getting back together after 25 years and trying to recreate what life was like at 18, 19 years old. Um, we partied way too hard and woke up every day just like miserable. And then over in Asia, they don't do ibuprofen, they do something called Panadol. So we would just take a bunch of Panadol and try to
Fuck
pretend that,
yeah, Panadol.
you know,
So we have,
Panadol.
yeah, man, Panadol. I fucking live off Panadol, man. Fuck yeah, it's paracetamol. It's not ibuprofen. It's not made of the same stuff. But yeah,
Oh, okay.
Panadol.
Well, it was a lifesaver, man. I mean, yeah,
I feel
we
like we need to like list all the side effects just to feel, like just let everybody know. Don't be ordering off of like in Europe and Asia, getting some Panadol and like taking a
The
bunch
side
of it.
effects is that like it cures your headache and it's fine. There is no side
honestly, yeah, it
effects.
was kind of a lifesaver because they had breakfast ended at 10:30, which you think would be fine, but when you're going to bed at 2 and 3, it comes pretty fast. So we would all just be sitting there from like 9:30 to 10:30 kind of moaning and taking Panadol and regretting our choices. And then
I'm such a sad individual. I don't remember the last time I was up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Here's Chris, like 10 years older than me, and fucking out till like 3 in the morning partying.
I mean, I don't remember
I'm
the last time
sad.
I did it.
More recently than me now.
Yeah, I guess so. But it was fun. And then I was having a panic attack imagining that I had to go back to work. So I was so glad I took a week off after and I just went by myself to Bangkok. And I did a lot of historic sites, like a lot of temples. Man, I know Zach, you're a history buff. I'm not. I have zero to very little interest in history, but learning about the Empire of Siam, freaking fascinating, man. They were one of the wealthiest nations ever because they had like the gold centered there.
Getting
Um,
into Asian like empire history is something I cannot do. Like
okay.
I think that's all you like if you're into that, that's all you can be into.
Oh,
because like
okay.
empires come and go so like quickly.
Okay.
There'll be like five people like fighting over land, and then suddenly there's some other dude who was never even in the picture who now owns all of it, and now his brother has killed him. So yeah, it's fascinating. It's just like I get lost in it.
Yeah, I could totally see that. There's a city called oh, I'm so sorry, people of Thailand. Ayutthaya, I think. Ayutthaya, I believe. Anyways,
You
something like
just
that.
insulted our one South Asian listener of this
I'm so
podcast.
sorry. I'm so sorry to the one. But I went to go visit, and they still have all those old ruins and stuff, and it's cool. Like it's a whole day trip, and you get to see the way the city was structured and stuff. And it was yeah, I don't know, man. And then inside the actual city of Bangkok is just amazing. Like it's basically like a four-level city. They have the road, and then they have like a higher level of road. They have the metro stations, and then they have these shopping centers that are built up, and so you can actually kind of stay like above the city and go between shopping centers when you're in the commercial district. So it's like a four-tiered city. It's really cool, man. Bangkok is one that I would strongly recommend people go to. And the food, I mean, I was telling Zach before you came on, Adam, but my average meal was like $4 there, and I was eating pretty well. Um, so yeah. Anyways, that's my month.
All right, well, so I know Adam's been waiting in anticipation. I am at 385 movies for the year.
Let's go.
Oh, yes, we're getting close.
Yep, so I got 14 more movies I get to watch for me until I have to watch 400 Blows, the very, very last French New Wave film I ever have to watch, because Adam says I will like it. So we're gonna find out at number 400 for the year.
And like just to try and like Chris will probably see the angle that I'm coming with why I think I'm not gonna say you're gonna love it, like it's gonna be your favorite movie or anything, but I think you'll connect to it more than any other French New Wave film that we've ever kind of made you watch. Um, just because just a very simple film. It's not like it doesn't have any like super kinetic fucking hyper weird editing or shit. It's kind of stylistically kind of opposite to like a Goddard. It's a very simple film, but like the core of the film is just about this kid who is failed by the system. He gets
Okay.
into trouble, he joshes around and stuff, but you can just see every adult around him is failing him.
Hmm.
And I think just because of the work that you do, you'll see a lot of the people that you work with in this main character. Um, so I think you'll connect with the story. You might not love it like stylistically or whatever, but I think you'll connect to it on that level more than any other kind of new wave film that we've made you watch. So I'm really looking forward to hearing your thoughts about it.
Mine, you're usually pretty good at knowing at least what I'll like, so I am going in open-minded as much as I'll joke about it. I am going in hoping that I find one I can say I like.
I think it'll slightly redefine the way you think of the new wave, to be honest, because it's much more of a humanist story than it is about style.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'll
It's
probably be there like, man, they found the exception, and I'll never watch another one again. But what I'm gonna do, so I'm definitely gonna get to that within the next 10 days, I'd say, based on kind of where I'm at.
nice.
So I am not going to write a review or put a score on it. You're gonna have to wait until we record next time to know what I thought. I'm not gonna tell you anything.
Fantastic.
But as
Fantastic.
far so that's the future. So what I have watched in the past, I got a bunch. So I didn't even go back of what I was going to talk about before when we tried to record last time, because that's like another, I don't know, 3 weeks worth of shit. So we're just going to start a little bit after that. As far as new movies go, I saw the new Fantastic Four. Not the savior of Marvel, but it's pretty good. I liked it. It had a nice aesthetic. I went there to see the Avatar 3 trailer, so it got an extra bump in score for that. Um, After that, I had to go. My kid, I work with, where a kid I was working with, he wanted to go see Superman, so I went to go watch Superman again, and I did not really care for it again the second time. I still thought it was just fine. Let's see. Saw Until Dawn. It was fine. Not gonna dwell on that one. So the Naked Gun. Since Adam mentioned watching the first one, I got to watch the new one. I haven't seen the original trilogy in a long time, but I had a really good time with the Liam Neeson one. I think that was perfect casting. I think he does such a fantastic job. I think him and Pamela Anderson have like really good chemistry in the film. Um, yeah, I was really glad when we walked out that they had not spoiled every good gag from the film. There's a lot of them that are in the trailer naturally, but there was still some really good stuff. Had a good crowd with it that really enjoyed it. After that, I finally got around to The Life of Chuck, which is Mike Flanagan's new film, another adaptation of a Stephen King story.
Mhm.
My favorite movie of the year. It's so good. It's just an opportunity for Flanagan to just kind of dwell into this sentimental, which he does a lot anyway, but now he just gets to make a whole movie about it. Definitely my favorite film this year. Let's see, what else did I see from this year?
Just while you're looking, I mean, just really quick before we move on from Pam Anderson,
Okay.
I I would have not had her being like the next Dolly Parton or Betty White on my bingo card, but she seems awesome. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, I think her and Neeson are in a relationship now, which I'm like, good for him. His wife had passed away like, I don't know, like 15 years ago now. So
wait, Liam Neeson's wife passed away?
yeah, so she
Yeah,
passed away in like 2010, 2011, and he
a
had
long
actually
time
made The
ago.
Gray right after that, which is about, a guy dealing with like besides just punching wolves, it's about a guy dealing with like his wife just passing away and stuff. So that was kind of a big movie for him to do.
But that
Uh
was the plot of Love Actually. That was his character in Love Actually. He was like dealing with that grief and stuff.
That
he's
was
just good.
before.
Yeah,
Love Actually
yeah.
was like 2004,
Yeah.
2005. Yeah,
Early
Natasha.
2000s.
Yeah, with Natasha Richardson, who is obviously the daughter of Vanessa Redgrave.
Hmm.
Um,
No shit. That
Yeah.
sucks, man. So
yeah,
he
she
did.
died. Yeah, it was about 2009, 2010. I think it was in a skiing accident. It was like something really freak. It was like a really
Oh,
like a freak
wow.
accident or something.
Okay.
I think it was skiing, if I remember
Wow.
correctly. See, this is why we need to record during the day, because Neve could then shout the right answer at me.
Yeah.
Hey, please tell me.
Um, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it was a skiing accident. Yeah, it's nice they're together. If you haven't, Chris, you should watch Pamela Anderson's Criterion Closet video.
Oh, I've seen it. I've
Uh,
seen it.
oh yeah, she's great.
No, it's
Um,
amazing.
yeah.
No. But no, they have good chemistry, so it's a nice little story. I don't usually care about like those type of relationship, but I like Liam Neeson, so good for him. He seems like a decent guy. And I got to talk about him a bunch last episode. So, as far as new releases go, I then went and saw Weapons, Zach Krieger's new film.
Please keep it all to a minimum. I want to know nothing about this movie. Thank you.
That's fine. I will tell you it is excellent. That's where I will start and leave it. The only thing I will say, and this is more broad about Krieger that I really appreciate, we've had a lot of skit guys, comedy skit guys become horror directors. We had Jordan Peele, we had the guys who made Talk to Me and Bring Her Back. One thing I really appreciate about Krieger, with his skit background, is he really does kind of keep with the comedy in both of his films quite a lot. Like
Okay.
I'm not gonna say the other two were ashamed of their comedy background, but he definitely keeps it as I want something funny in my movie, and it stays more light that way. Even Weapons, which could easily turn into something kind of dark, is the fun factor is really just in the forefront, and I did appreciate that a lot, especially because they had Bring Her Back come out this year, which kind of deals with similar themes, we'll say, in a broad sense, and that's a much darker film. So, yeah, Adam, go see it. Chris, go see it too. It's really worth going to the theater to watch. His movies tend to get good reactions out of audiences. I remember when I went to go see Barbarian.
Well, I
Um,
still need to see that one as well. Again, please tell me nothing
Oh yeah,
about it.
I won't spoil anything. But one of my favorite things about that experience of going to the movie theater was I went Thursday night, opening night, and it was packed. It was actually a packed movie for that because I will give credit to Disney that the way they advertised that movie was brilliant. They gave nothing away, and it got a lot of people in there. And there was already so many reactions to the film and everything else. And then I just remember this like rock song comes out and it says written and directed by Zach Krieger, and somebody says, "Yo, what the fuck?" all over the audience. It was great. Still one of my favorite experience. I went by myself, and then I had to make my girlfriend go so she could see it. And the only other thing I've saw that's new, brand new, is Strange Harvest, which is by the guy who made Grave Encounters, or one of the guys who made Grave Encounters. He has a new
Oh,
mockumentary style film that's come out about like a serial killer, and they're doing like the true crime interviews and stuff like that. It's all fictional. It's kind of neat. It's a neat movie. The only times I've kind of seen something similar is like Lake Mungo and Savage Land, so it was really cool to see that. My problem with the film really just comes from having such a major true crime background, just with my mom, my mom being into it and stuff. So there's little things here and there that are just going to bother me, like how they do it. Like they'll go in there and they'll show like this surveillance footage, someone getting just like murdered in the most gnarly way, and they're like, there is 0% chance that would be in a true crime documentary. 0% chance. And then you'll have, the cops will be a lot more emotional. I was like, usually when they want the like emotional element in a true crime, they have the family there talking about it.
yeah.
And then they get the cops to just kind of talk about the investigative end. And I think a lot of it just came down to like a lack of cast. Like they had such a limited budget that they're like, okay, people are going to be playing like wearing two or three hats basically to kind of get the same sort of thing. But it's enjoyable. I really enjoy. I'm really glad I went to go see it. It's kind of cool to see that type of movie in the movie theater. Um, I don't know if it's going to even show up anywhere, because I think our closest one was like almost an hour away. But yeah, so beyond that, I am going to shout out that I recently watched The Girl in the Photographs, but I'm not going to talk about it because this is a perfect time to plug our Substack, where I wrote a very long and longer review than probably anyone's ever written about this film. So feel free to go read about it and see
Man,
what terrible opinion I have about it.
it's good. It's a cool entry too.
Oh, well, thank
Um,
you. Thank you.
thank you for doing that. Yeah, I'm way behind on. I haven't even put an Instagram post up for the Punk Vacation episode that came out in mid-July.
The
Um,
vacations put you behind, man.
yeah, I'm so behind.
There's only so much karaoke a man can do.
And honestly, I think the only one I'll kind of end on, I'm going to double check to make sure I'm not missing anything. Nope. So the one I'm going to end on is a movie called Salvage that came out in 2006. For anyone who's listened to this podcast for a while knows I kind of have a thing for time travel slasher movies, which is a weirdly bigger genre than you would expect.
Mhm.
But one of the earliest ones I found that's like more pure and kind of what you talk about if you don't count like the Terminator and stuff like that is a movie called Salvage that came out before Time Crumbs and it came out before Triangle. And it's a very similar sort of thing. And it goes into like there's this girl, she goes to college, she works pretty much a shitty part-time job. Her boyfriend's supposed to pick her up after work. This sketchy dude picks her up, says he works with her boyfriend, and he said, "Hey, he told me to bring you home." And eventually, this is the first 10 minutes, so no spoil. It's not a spoiler, but he ends up murdering her, and then she wakes up to that day again. But one thing I do like about this, and this is something I like a lot about like these kind of mid 2000s ones, is they don't try to explain why there's a time loop, like not in a scientific sort of way. They're just like, this is a time loop. This is it. And it's a very like cheap looking movie. It's definitely looks like a film of its era, but it's weirdly creepy because of it. Because I don't know, there's something about the way it's shot and almost like the best way I can think of it almost looks like a Polaroid shot from the 2000s. Is kind of how the whole film looks. And I think it's really neat. Not one I see people have ever talked about. I just kind of ran across it and yeah, I'd really like people to go check it out. And I think that's where I'm going to end mine because I don't see anything else that's even halfway worth talking about.
385 movies is awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. See if I can get to 600 this year. We'll see.
Yeah, I was gonna say 500 is gonna be easy.
Unless I just I just started replaying the Mad Max game. So who knows? Maybe that'll take up all my time and it'll be two more episodes for Adam gets to hear about what I think about 400 blows.
Well, should we transition to the star of the show?
Good old Charlie Bronson. I'm down.
All right.
Some say that Zach looks like him because neither can open their eyes fully.
I will now just walk around with a constant glare.
So 1921, Charles Dennis Buczynski was born.
Oh, we're going way back.
Yeah, born into a Lithuanian family. I didn't know he was Lithuanian. One of 15 kids. He was number 11 out of 15.
Jesus Christ.
His dad was a coal miner. His dad's name before he changed it, it's Walter Buczynski, but before he Americanized it, it was Vladislav Volteras Paulius Buczynskis. So these are some hardcore Lithuanian people. They did not speak English at home.
This is
Uh,
gonna sound real insensitive to me, but they always talk about how when you went to Ellis Island, it was like it's so bad they made you change your name. If I'm an Ellis Island employee who probably has a like eighth grade education and somebody throws that at me, I'm like, yeah, we're gonna shorten that just a little bit.
so Walter.
Yeah, we're just gonna go with that.
um, yeah, dad was an immigrant. Mom's family was born in the States, I think, if I remember correctly. So some kids didn't make didn't make it. I can't remember exactly how many of his brothers and sisters didn't make it, but he was 8 when the Great Depression started, so he remembers it. And really, really hard life. They were in the coal mines, so his dad died relatively early, and he went to go work at the coal mines as well to support the family. Eventually, went to go work in the military for World War II. So served in the Air Force, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, he was in the Air Force, and then came back and immediately got into a theater group. And somebody that he was dating at the time, her dad paid for his acting classes, and that was a good investment, even though they didn't end up being married forever. It was a good investment for Charles because he became, for a good decade or so, 10 or 15 years, was the highest paid actor in Hollywood. And so the movies that I wanted y'all to watch were leading up to the movie that kind of really put him on the map in an interesting way. He was a known actor before Death Wish. He had a movie that came out. So Death Wish was 1974. Before that, he had a movie came out called Chino, and before that, Stone Killer. So those 3 movies, he got paid over $1 million. So he was just kind of coming into his Charles Bronsonness in his 50s, which is interesting.
Wait, what
Never,
year is Once Upon a Time in the West?
68.
Yeah,
yeah.
what the fuck is all this about?
I was
No,
sitting there waiting. I was like, is Chris going to bring up the episode we've already done on Charles Bronson, technically?
no. So this is an interesting thing, right? So he grew up speaking Lithuanian, English, and Russian, and spent a lot of time in Europe as an actor. So a lot of the stuff, like Once Upon a Time in the West, is a good example. The movies, 2 of the 3 movies that we watched today, are co-productions into with Europe, and so he got a lot of his work and kind of he was in and out of Hollywood. Let's say it that way, because like The Dirty Dozen, obviously that was 1967. He was a supporting actor there, but still had a lot of screen time. So he was well known, right? I mean, this is a guy who was in TV, in and out of TV before then for a long time. Had a pretty memorable role in The Great Escape in 1963. So there's a bunch of movies I could have chosen for this episode. Um, but the thing that I thought was interesting about Cold Sweat, Someone Behind the Door, and The Mechanic are these were like Bronson led vehicles that were co-productions in Europe. And they were just kind of leading up to him becoming fully Bronson. And so, interestingly enough, like after he turned 50, he had about a 15-year run of being like on top of the world. Um, I would love to hear. I know that there's none of these movies that y'all just like absolutely loved, which I'm a little sad about. I'll get into that in just a minute. But 1970, we're going to be talking about Cold Sweat. 1971 is Someone Behind the Door. And then 1972 is The Mechanic. Interestingly, though, in that time, if you look at starting in 1970 and going to 1972, he starred in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 movies in those 3 years. So dude was all over the place. He was a very popular actor, high demand, and he started to slow down right around 1974, making only 1 to 2 to 3 movies a year tops. That was kind of where he was just becoming. Yeah, he was really great, like in his prime, I guess. Not too much else to say about Charles Bronson. He's known for being a very stoic person. Another reason I chose these movies that I did was I think they showed a slightly different side of him. I think The Mechanic is probably the closest to his personality that he became known for. But Cold Sweat and The Door certainly are different. And yeah, I just wanted to show a little bit of a different side of this guy that is, everyone's dad's favorite actor, right? So starting with Cold Sweat, um, I don't know. Adam, do you want to start off with
Yeah. So, a couple of interesting things with Cold Sweat. So, it's directed by Terrence Young.
yep,
Zach won't know this, but Terrence Young directed the first three James Bond movies.
yep,
So pretty good pedigree of a director.
yep.
I want to know what dirt did he have on Liv Ullmann to get her here?
She's like a prominent role in the movie too. It's not like some slight flyby role.
Like I looked it up. I'll need to pull it up again. But like this is like right slap bang in the middle of her like goated like greatest actress of all time run here.
Oh yeah.
Like this was not like, I'm at the end of my career, I need some money. This is like right fucking slap bang in the middle of it all.
Yep,
The year before she did The Passion of Anna, which is one of my favorite Bergman movies.
yep,
And then 2 years later she does Cries and Whispers. And
yep.
then Scenes from a Marriage the year after that. She'd already obviously done Persona and Hour of the Wolf and Shame a couple of years prior. So like what what why is she here?
It,
Um
it
Isn't it?
almost seems like one of those things where she made a movie like 10 years ago and there was something in the contract like, now you're signed on for a second movie.
It
And
had
they
to
just
be
never
something
thought they
like
were going to
that.
use it. And then she's
No,
like, oh shit.
seriously.
Yeah. What's that?
It had to have been
Yeah.
something like that. I can't like I'm sorry, but like and like James Mason, what's he doing here?
Oh, what a crazy turn for James Mason.
Like I just don't get it. I don't like James Mason, okay, I guess maybe a little bit. He's been in some kind of kooky films, but especially I suppose this is towards the end of his career at this stage, you know? Um he's also doing a really weird accent in
Yep,
this movie.
yep, yep,
So he's not doing his Stewie Griffin voice. He's doing like this weird Cajun accent, I think.
yep, yep, yep.
Um, right. Anyway, sorry. Back to the movie. So the first thing that jumped out at me was when the film started, and he's on the boat and comes into the village or whatever. I'm like, this looks so familiar. I looked it up. I was like, I need to figure out. This looks like the fucking uh Côte d'Azur, the French Riviera. I just this I want to know whereabouts this was filmed. This was filmed 10 minutes from where me and Neve went on our honeymoon, and we
Oh
passed
wow.
through this town on train when we were going to Monaco.
Oh, that's
So
awesome.
we went to Nice on our honeymoon, and this is just a little town that's in between Nice and Monaco, which is like a 20-minute train journey.
Yeah,
It's like
Bruce
halfway
and yeah.
between the two. So that's what I was like. This like it was just like the landscape and stuff just looked really familiar. Like it's because that area of the French Riviera all has very kind of very high hills, like it's so weird. It's just like right on the coast. There's just these mountains basically. It's very weird landscape. So yeah, that's what I thought was interesting. Into the film itself, then. I would like if I had to. No, I guess that's a lie. I was gonna say this is probably my favorite. This is probably my second favorite. Um, just because it's a bit kooky. I do think the plot is somewhat interesting. Charles Bronson. It's kind of like an American film that you'd have where like a film noir where a guy gets dragged into doing one last job or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah.
It's kind of like that, but like having this weird Riviera setting and stuff just adds this weirdness to it. Um, it's not high art or anything like that, but it has some good set pieces, especially towards the end with the shootouts and stuff like that, and the chase scene is pretty good as well. I do think it takes long it took longer to get into than I thought it would. Like I read the kind of the synopsis and I thought, okay, it's gonna be a pretty snappy movie. It took a little bit long to get into. Like James Mason doesn't show up for like a pretty significant time. And then he's just kind of like taken out of action for most of the film. He just kind of sits
Right.
around for most of the movie.
Right.
Um, doesn't get a whole lot to do. Um, yeah, there's no like there's nothing in the film that really jumped out at me to kind of say this was bad, but there's not a lot I can really say that I loved and this is going to be a trend with pretty much everything we're going to talk about today, apart from maybe one. There was kind of one that I liked a bit more, but this one and the other one, it's not that I don't like them. It's not that I thought they were bad movies or anything, but I was just maybe looking for, it's just something a little bit more of anything, whether it was maybe some like a performance that really jumped out at me and grasped me, or, a particular sort of scene or shot that kind of blew me away, or maybe a plot twist. But it didn't really hit like nothing in Cold Sweat. It was all very by the numbers. You could kind of see where it was all going. Um, I never really felt like, Bronson or his family were in any real danger, because it's just like it's a Charles Bronson action movie. He's gonna save the day. It's gonna be fine. Um, so yeah, like Cold Sweat, it was fine, and I don't like again. I want to reiterate because you've been joking about this in our WhatsApp group the last couple of weeks. We've been waiting to record that we hated these movies or that I hated these movies. I definitely don't hate any of the movies we watched today. Um, but there was just nothing really grasped me. Like the only thing that really grasped me in this film was me trying to figure out why the fuck the location looked familiar, and it's because I would passed through it. And once I'd figured that out, after I paused the movie 5 minutes in, the rest of it I did. It was just like, okay. See, we're just kind of going scene to scene here. There was nothing really
So
stuck out for me.
I want to hear what Zach thinks, but I won't comment too much. But just one point. So I think this movie was set up the best because I hadn't seen this before, right? This is one that I just wanted to see because I knew it was a little bit of a different turn for Charles Bronson as an actor. And I was interested in the cast and director, like you said, and everything. The best I can wrap my head around this is that the way it was financed and put together and constructed was this was like a vacation where they shot a movie because they were in like one of the most beautiful parts of France, and they had this production budget, and everybody came in and shot it and then left. So I just think that this was, because the Italians used to do this all the time when they wanted to go visit Miami or different parts of the Caribbean. They would like make a script that was set there, right? And then go get financing and go take a vacation there. And I think that's what was happening with this. It's just a chance to pull all these famous people in. I mean, James Mason, Jill Ireland is no scrub. Jean Topart was a very famous French actor. Michael Constantine was a famous actor. Like it was, this was a stacked cast. A lot of very senior, like cinematographers and writers and everything. So I just think that this was a movie where they wanted to kind of get out and have a nice little drama kind of thriller set in. Oh wait, Zach, that's a bad word for you, right? I don't know, kind of a mystery. No, not a mystery. What would this categorize as? Um, I don't
It's
even know
just
what
it's
it
just an action movie, right? It's just a
kind of
crime
was.
action movie.
Yeah, I guess kind of actiony, kind of a yeah,
Crime action thriller is what Letterboxd has it as.
yeah, yeah. That's my guess of why the movie exists. Um, they were yeah, they found a novel and just kind of threw together a cast around it.
So for me, this one's kind of been interesting since I've watched it because I think one of the issues I had, and I don't know where you want, I ended up watching this on Tubi, and the copy I watched
Yeah,
was
it's rough.
awful. It
Yeah,
looked rough.
yeah.
I
My
was like,
copy was
geez,
great.
damn, who
Full
put it?
HD. Someone, I thought I read that somebody had put it out, like Shout or someone like that.
No, Zach, I Prime has the HD copy.
I should have
Yeah,
watched it on
that's
Prime.
that's where I watched it, was on Prime.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So I'd like to give it a go again just because that'll be a whole like mine looks like straight like a fucking VHS copy. So that was a little distracting for a lot of it, especially for a movie. I'm like, I know this had at least an okay enough budget to, and it's got a good cast in it. I was like, you think somebody would have put this out by now?
Kino
Um,
did it. I knew someone put it out. Kino
this
put
is
it out.
very much a Kino title. I should have
yeah,
guessed
totally.
that.
Totally.
It's very Kino. But one thing that kind of stood out to me when I first watched it, because it's actually been pretty positive for me, like since I watched it. I probably remember this one the best, which I did not expect after I watched all three. I was like, I actually thought this would be the one I had the hardest time remembering. But I think it's because it reminded me of two movies and certain plot beats that are two of my favorites, which is the Outlaw Josie, not the Jesus. I'm getting names mixed up. Bring Me the Head of Alfredo Garcia, with really the Charles
Hmm.
Bronson and his the connection he has with his wife and things like that. I think it makes a very interesting dynamic. And also Day of the Outlaw, because it feels like they have to kind of work with people they don't want to make sure things don't get worse.
Yeah, it even
And
has like the fucking main bad guy fucking dying off in the movie and stuff like
yeah,
that. It's definitely Day of the Outlaw for sure.
yeah. So those two elements really hit for me. Obviously, I don't think it's as good as either one of those two, not by a long shot. But I did like those elements of it. I did think it was an interesting movie, just simply because it explored like because I did like Charles Bronson and y'all have to remind me of her name. I'm blanking.
Liv Ullman.
Yeah, Liv Ullman. I thought they actually had. I actually thought they worked pretty well together. I actually thought they had
Yeah.
pretty solid chemistry. And I think since this is really a Bronson episode, I mean, this one is as far as it's kind of weird because I think as far as his acting goes in these three films, this one feels the most typical. Like I feel maybe not the most typical, but it feels like he has the least to do. Like there
Right.
isn't like a lot. There's not a lot of necessity for range when it comes to what he's got to do.
True.
Where I think, even though I like this better than the mechanic, which we'll talk about later, I do think the mechanic and the door one, whose name I won't remember by the end of this podcast, I think he has a lot. I think he has to do a lot more acting in that. I think he has to have a lot more range, scene to
Especially
scene.
especially behind the door. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, did we? I'm guessing they're not, but I'm guessing they're not anywhere on our lists anywhere.
Oh, that's a great question. Keep going. I'll take a look. Here.
Yeah, because I was kind of curious. I feel like I know the mechanic will be.
Yeah, mechanic will be for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I
I
was.
would be shocked if either like they're probably like fucking
Oh,
25,000 and
yeah. Cold Sweat
something.
is not.
It's not on there at all.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's funny you mentioned. I don't mean to interrupt you fully, Zach. I'm sorry. You can.
No, I'm good. We can move on now. We are good. Whenever you.
Um. Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, feel free to jump around. But if it's funny you say that it stuck with you because it kind of did for me too. I think this movie uh is one that I would probably be the most likely to revisit. Um, I have a soft spot for the mechanic. We'll talk about that in just a second. I really like it, but uh, I guess of the ones that I hadn't seen, I would probably be most likely to go back and watch this again because I think it's just the whole like the remote kind of cabin where they're keeping the the girl prisoner, and then the way that James Mason character kind of turns into an ally, and
Yeah.
the way the story progresses. I think it's well done. I don't know what this movie would need to be considered um, more respectable or to be to be one that's a little bit more popular because I think the story elements are actually there. Um, it just feels a little. I think my knock on it would be it feels a little bit thrown together, like a little hapdash. Um, but I actually like it. Yeah, I don't know. This one to me was fun. It just seemed a little campy, I guess, which I'm gonna be of the three of us, I'm probably the most likely to enjoy that or see that
Yeah, and I mean,
positive.
I could see that kind of maybe playing a part into it because because it's obviously taking good elements. There's a lot of elements in it I do like,
Right.
but I also don't. It doesn't. I guess the movies I compare it to, it doesn't have that same, I guess, artistry as you would
Yeah.
expect from like Peck and Paw or Toth, who are obviously taking the material, I would say, a little bit more seriously in what they're doing. And that's not to say this one's like some farce or it's that, but it's definitely, like you said, it kind of feels thrown together in an element, like almost like they kind of had that gist of the story, and there were still some parts of the story on like the day they record, like, all right, what are we doing today?
Maybe,
That
yeah.
sounds good. Let's do that.
But honestly, I don't know how many y'all have seen from Terrence Young outside of his Bond movies. but that's
I will check
kind
it.
of a critique of him in general, to be honest. Like he's a studio director, and I think in the for me in the negative sense of the term. Like he was a good technician. He was very accomplished. He could, assemble a crew and map, get out a script and shoot on time and on budget. But I've never seen anything from him outside of the Bond movies that really like left any kind of auteur stamp. Like I think he was there for a paycheck, and so this one definitely feels like that.
I do kind of want to see his movie Corridor of Mirrors because that poster's dope. But no, I've never seen anything of his besides this. I was just double checking
It's
since
crazy
I
if
haven't
you
seen
see.
any of his Bond movies. I've only seen
Yeah,
one Bond movie, so still
yeah,
haven't
yeah,
got
yeah.
there.
It's crazy if you see how many films he's actually directed. I mean, he was a very employable director. And his movies all fit like they were, you know, they were movies. Like they were like he was very good at making movies uh for studios, but I just don't know that he's an auteur. And I feel like this one might be suffering a bit from just not really having like an overall vision or something. I don't know. But
It needs a Andre de Toth or a Jacques Tourneur kind of a
Turn Air would have been perfect for something like this. I agree.
touch to it,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
yeah,
It
like at
elevates
least
the material a little bit.
yeah, at least give us some shadows or some interesting angles or I don't know, do something. But anyways, I'm not as I was watching this, I was like, okay, I don't think anyone's gonna be like raving about this. And I'm certainly not going to either.
Honestly, now that you say it, I think this would be better as a black and white film. Like, I know it's a little late.
Yeah,
It was started in the 70s now, but honestly, I think that would
No, because I think the Riviera setting does benefit from the
that's
color.
fair. That's fair. Yeah.
yeah.
But I might enjoy that more if it didn't look like a VHS tape when I watched it. So
Yeah, I
maybe
see.
that's
This is the
that's as
thing.
affected me.
Yeah, because the copy I watched was the Kino one. It even like I'm pretty sure it had the Kino logo. That's how I knew at the start. So I would recommend you guys watch it again just because it actually does look pretty nice. Well, the
So
Okay.
scenery is nice.
yeah, it's interesting. I was just curious. So the cinematographer is Jean Rebier, and he was most famous for working with Claude Chabrol, but he does have the ability to actually do some pretty striking things. So he was the cinematographer on Umbrellas of Cherbourg, which is a beautiful movie. Um, and Cleo from 5 to 7, which is more, uh, well, I think that might even be black and white. Is it black and white? Or might
Yeah,
be.
Cleo from 5 to 7 is in black and white.
It is, right? But he's got the capability of being of doing some quite striking cinematography. But then I don't know how much Claude Chabrol you've seen, but a lot of his stuff is very simple. Um, and it's
No,
more story.
he's the guy they say is like French Hitchcock or something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen any of his movies. I've been meaning to. I know there's a couple of Arrow box sets.
I love him, but unlike Hitchcock, I don't think his movies are highly stylized. Like he wins on story.
Wait, and I just realized something. I was looking through the cast. Richard Matheson, it's based on a Richard Matheson story.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Holy shit, that's awesome.
Uh-huh.
Now I can see how they were able to cobble a story together. That makes sense now.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
No, that's really cool though. I really think that's neat.
I probably should have brought that up earlier.
Yeah.
I don't have anything else to say on this really. I mean, I don't even know if it was a financial success because this would have been before VHS. So this would have been in the era where they were just trying to get somebody to buy it. So I guess this would have been if this was a successful movie or not would have been fully dependent on if individual countries would have bought it for theatrical release. And I don't have any quick information on that. So
No, there's nothing on Box Office Mojo about it.
uh-uh.
They don't have any info. I was gonna see if I could find anything.
So, but I'm guessing that, with the crew involved and the cast involved, I'm guessing they sold international rights to this for at least the cost of production because there was no special effects in this really other than a little bit of blood, right? So this would have been a pretty cheap movie to shoot, I think.
Yeah, because even the car chase and stuff like that, there was no like big explosions or anything. It wasn't like
Right.
we didn't watch fucking Bullet. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Right. 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 Exactly. Okay. Well, anything else on this, or should we go to someone behind the door?
I think I'm good. I think I'm good to move on.
Same.
Right. Zach, do you want to start us off on, oh, you know what we didn't do? Should we do the description? of what
Well,
they're
you
about?
know, part of me is kind of conflicted because I actually didn't read the thing before I did it. So there is a part that I know the letterbox listing tells you happens, but it actually came as kind of a surprise for me. So I don't know. I'm cool with it either way, but it was actually kind of nice not to know kind of the key of the film, like what goes on, but I also don't know how we'll talk about it. So either way.
Okay. Well, 1971. This is a this one was the first one was French Italian co-production. This was fully a French production. Um, I'm not even gonna try to pronounce the French. Holy shit. Quelqu'un dirait la porte. I mean, I'm so bad at. I feel
Let
like
me try. Let me pull it up here. Is it on
Let's let
Letterboxd?
the European do it.
Wikipedia or IMDb will have it.
Letterboxd might have it. Oh yeah.
Maybe
Oh fuck. Okay, hold on. Wait. Okay, that's worse than I thought.
right.
Yeah, quelqu'un derrière les portes.
Yeah.
Derrière?
No,
Oh,
that's like
behind.
behind, right?
Lol. That's pretty funny.
Behind it. Literally, probably
This has
literally
like an
behind it.
alternative title though, because the place that I watched it, I couldn't find it at first. And I'm like, oh, that's weird. I said, let me just search by like Charles Bronson movies first. And I was like, no, that looks like it is. It looks like the poster. That sounds like the right movie, but it had like a different title. I can't remember what it was now, considering I could barely remember the actual name of the fucking movie. But um, anyway, sorry.
I don't know that. I saw it as someone behind the door. Let's see. I don't
Something
know.
about a murderer or something.
I'm just doing a quick scan of Two Minds for Murder.
That's it. Two Minds for Murder. That's
Okay,
the one.
that was the UK title, so that would make sense if you were searching
Ah,
for it.
yeah. That would make sense. Unfortunately, I am still subject to imperialism.
I was about to say, Chris is insinuating you're part of the UK. You should be offended.
No, unfortunately for streaming stuff, we basically might as well be.
So, this was a Nicholas Gesner is the director here. Nothing as interesting as Bond. He was just kind of a working director. He had 20 movies or so. He was a European guy. He anything really of substance that nothing. I mean, sorry, nothing of substance that I could really find. But this is an interesting one because the connection here into celebrity is going to be somebody that Zach is very familiar with. So this co-stars Anthony Perkins.
Hell yeah.
And I should mention before we get into the cast too much here. So if you've noticed, Jill Ireland is going to be in a lot of these movies. So he married Jill. Bronson married Jill Ireland in 1968, I believe, and they did 14 or 15 movies together. So they were always quite frequently cast as love interest or some type of lead interest. Um, this one is I think from a premise standpoint, this one to me is the most interesting, just straight up premise. Um, we can talk about execution in a minute, but it's basically a neurosurgeon and a psychologist or psychiatrist finds somebody who's an amnesiac and convinces him that his wife cheated on him and needs to be killed, when in fact it was the wife of the neurosurgeon. And it's like the way that he kind of manipulates this guy is and how it plays out is the crux of the story. Um, and so I think the premise of this movie is really interesting. And I did really enjoy watching it. But Zach, I'd love to hear what you thought about this, I guess, first.
Yeah, so of the three, I definitely found this to be my favorite. If no other reason to watch this movie, then I think it's just to watch every scene with Anthony Perkins and Charles Bronson in together.
Uh-huh.
I think they are so good together in this film. And of course, one of the more I think one of the more fascinating elements about this is, of course, this is what 11 years after Psycho. So usually when it comes to Perkins, he's played the villain plenty of times, but it's actually kind of nice to see him play more of a malicious villain because obviously in Psycho he's not competent in what he's doing. So
Mhm.
this is one where he gets to play as somebody I feel is a little bit more evil purely. He's making all these decisions himself, and I think he does a great job with it. And I think this is the one where Bronson kind of proves how good of an actor he can be. Because I think there is a lot more he has to um, different dynamics he's got to deal with and different emotions he's got to process through. And I don't know. To me, this is probably, I'd say, of any of the films I've watched with Bronson in, this might be the most vulnerable he's been in a film.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's kind of nice to see. I think it's something, I'd like to, I would have, he probably does have more movies where he does this. It's just not the ones I've seen, but I would definitely be interested in more like that.
Yeah. The word vulnerable was actually a word I was going to use. But Adam, what about you? What did you think about this one?
So this movie is like the dumbest shit ever, but it's so good.
It's very European. Yes. That's what I
It's
was
just
saying.
it's the dumbest shit ever. I'm gonna go and get this guy who's an amnesiac and convince him that my wife or is his wife, so that he can murder her and her whatever. It's so stupid, um, but it's really fun. It's definitely my favorite of the three. It's kind of like there's a few kind of things stylistically that it reminded me of in certain elements. Obviously, it has that kind of giallo, you
Yeah, for
know,
sure.
kookiness to it, I guess, to use a better word, giallo kookiness, with also having that kind of Bergman-esque chamber piece aspect of it, because the majority of the film is just in the house with the two leads just kind of working off each other, and as Zach said, they work off each other excellently. Um, I definitely agree with Zach's assessment of Bronson's performance. Very interesting. This was, for context, I watched this one last, so
Okay.
I'd seen, the two kind of more action focused performances, and then I watched this one. So it was really interesting to me to see him play this kind of sad sack, vulnerable character. Like, not he's not playing a Bronson character.
Right. Right.
Um, so that was interesting. Perkins was very good, as he always is. Um, it also similar to the kind of chamber piece aspect with the psychological stuff. There's a Fassbinder movie called Chinese Roulette that it kind of reminded me of in terms of like the vibe. I don't know if have you seen that one, Chris? I know Zach probably hasn't, but I don't know if you have, Chris.
I was just looking it up right now to see if I've seen. I don't think so. I love Fassbender, but I don't think I've seen Chinese Roulette yet.
So my Chinese Roulette, my review of it's very short, and I think it would pique your interest. Let me just pull it up here.
It has Anna
So
Karina, which already has me halfway there.
yeah, so my review for Chinese Roulette is vicious, absurd, and depressing. Fantastic film is like if Louis Buñuel and Michael Haneke co-wrote an Ingmar Bergman chamber piece.
Sold.
So yeah, I'd recommend Chinese Roulette. It's just basically like it's a very similar vibe to this movie.
Yeah.
They're obviously like nothing in common from a plot perspective, I guess, unless I suppose there is a there is an infinity plot point with Chinese Roulette as well. So that's probably the only other thing they'd have in common. Um, but it's a very vicious kind of chamber piece in the same way this is. Um, Obviously with this film, I didn't look at the budgetary stuff. I assumed it was kind of limited by its budget, and that's kind of why it is more of a one set kind of a movie.
Mhm.
Um, but so like it probably could have done a little bit more with the material. I don't think it was, again, it's not like it blew my mind or anything. I'll probably never watch it again. Um, but it was a good time. It's definitely the best time I had out of the three movies, just because it was just so batshit. Like I did kind of read a snippet of the plot. I kind of knew the basics of the story, but I
Mhm.
didn't know how they would play out and how it would kind of go from point A to point B. Um, so watching it play, I'm like, this is so dumb. Um, but it doesn't matter because the script is pretty good, and but Perkins and Bronson, not Pierce Brosnan, Anthony Perkins
Mm.
and Charles Bronson really elevate the material as well. I think if you change one of those two guys, or God forbid both of them, for lesser actors, this becomes a piece of shit. Um, so like luckily you have these guys who, like Perkins, just can just chew scenery for 90 minutes, and Bronson can just play this very weird character, um, with a really interesting kind of twist towards the end as well.
Yeah. I think I okay. I'm not gonna I don't mean this to argue with you. I'm just thinking of the term lesser actor. I think one of the things I've always liked about Anthony Perkins is he's like Nick Cage in a way that I think he can handle con scripts that are a little bit out there very well. Like he's
Yeah, like he always plays with sincerity. Like no matter what it is,
yes,
he's a very sincere actor.
yes. And I think it requires that skill. Like I wouldn't there's a lot of people that might be like quote unquote like better actors, but I don't think could pull this off.
Now I want a remake of this movie with Nick Cage playing Anthony Perkins'
Hell
part.
yeah.
That would
he
be
should play
awesome.
both parts.
Dude, yes, that would be awesome.
Adaptation part two.
Yeah, Charles Bronson's such an interesting actor though, because like so apparently he was exactly the same way off screen as he was on screen. Like his
That's the least shocking thing I've heard.
no, totally, right? Like there was when he did Death Wish, again, I know we're not talking about that today, but there was a critic that spoke out against it. And he told somebody in a meeting that he was going to get the reporter.
Well, did you read the controversy with this movie?
No.
So I'm gonna just I double checked to make sure it was somewhere else, but yeah, this seems to be true. So I'm gonna read it off the Wikipedia. When Charles Bronson appeared on the Dick Cavett show, his fellow guest Richard Attenborough and Jill Ireland, Bronson's wife, he confirmed that this one story about him attacking a director that was true. On the last day of filming, his frustration at the director, who he believed had stuck doggedly to a poor plan on how to film the story, boiled over. He grabbed Nicholas Gesner by the throat and gave him a shake. Jill Ireland confirmed this and agreed with Bronson's assessment that Gesner he was a bit thick. Ride or die wife, man. Gotta love it.
Yeah. Yeah, they were married forever. She died while they were married.
Was
Like
she English?
Jill
Look.
Ireland was English, yes.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense why she said he was a bit thick. That's such like an English thing to say.
um, yeah. But yeah, they were married in 1968 until she died in 1990. So they had a long marriage. But anyways, yeah. He was yeah, that's exactly what I mean. And I think it in a weird way, okay, this is going to be a weird example, but stick with me. You know how Paul Thomas Anderson seems to know how to pull sincerity out of Adam Sandler?
Yeah.
Like I feel like I'm not going to say Gesner is equivalent to PTA or anything, but I think that this movie was the right way to pull something out of Bronson, like because he was still quiet and contemplative, right? It was just like his personality like tweaked a little bit to be vulnerable instead of the strength, like that quiet strength.
Are you thinking maybe that's where some of the apparently animosity came from, as whatever his attempts were to kind of get a performance like that out of Bronson?
Could be, honestly, could be. I mean, yeah, I just think that like he was the right guy for this type of role where, there's so many different ways to play an amnesiac, and he played him very vulnerable and kind of like sincere, which is interesting to see because he was really just trying to figure things out.
Yeah, because
Uh,
I think you could overplay that by like he's
yeah,
just like freaking out because you don't remember anything. Where
exactly.
his character gets frustrated because he doesn't remember certain things, but he still tries to, I don't know, maintain some form of control.
Yeah, it's like appropriate level of frustration. It's not like too theatrical, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I think that this is another one that had some like kind of campy elements to it, I think. Like you're right, Adam, it is a silly plot. But
But we just came off Mission Impossible, so that's fine.
yeah, that's true. And what was the one that I just saw that the card player from Argento. Yeah, it's fucking plot was so ridiculous. Um, so anyways, I'm glad y'all like this one. I don't have
Yeah, and I think it might be the lowest rated one of, at least on Letterboxd, of the three you picked. So I was actually really surprised that I like this one the best.
This is why I don't trust other people.
Yeah, it's
They
a good
can't be
it's a good
trusted.
reason.
Just in general, it's better not to.
No, other people can't be trusted. I say this to my dad all the time. I'll like recommend him a horror movie, and he'll be like, "Oh, the IMDb rating's not very good." I'm like, you can't trust other people.
Especially not like horror, you can't trust either one of them, honestly. Like
Mm.
No.
just like there used to be a rule. I remember back on like the IMDb forums, the rule used to be whatever the rating is, add a whole point. And that's way more accurate when it comes to horror.
Yeah, I
Like if it's got
agree.
a 5.7, it's closer to like what 6.7 movies would be.
Well, is this the right time to move into the best film of the lot?
I don't think I have anything else here because I think I definitely I think it's worth watching, so I wouldn't want to spoil like kind of the last act because I do think it's fun bonkers. Like it's definitely a bonkers finale, so
Speaking about
I don't
that,
think that's worth it.
how
Yeah.
can people watch this?
What are we talking about? The mechanic?
No, someone behind the door. Let's see who put it out. So does seem like there's a Blu-ray out. Is it
It's probably some bullshit company that doesn't exist anymore.
Kino? Kino.
I was close. I'm just kidding.
For someone who like doesn't collect Kino or anything, or never owned Kino, are they just like the Tubi of
Yes.
Blu-ray, where they just put
Yes.
Yeah,
anything?
the amount of output that Kino puts out is wild. Like you actually look at how much they put out per month. You know, Arrow does their big release where it's like, look at the 6 movies coming out in 6 months. Kino's like, here's 28 movies we'll put out this month. Have fun.
That's true.
And now they used to be criticized for not having like any supplements. They
Yeah.
actually put supplements on their stuff now. I don't know how they're doing it now, so good for them. They do pretty good work now.
Yeah. I don't know if y'all remember, this would have been 3 years ago now. We had one of the producers for Kino on the show.
Oh
And
shit. Sorry, bro.
no. It was maybe even 4 years ago. It was a while. But he was fascinating because he was saying that there at that time there was only three producers, which in terms of like people that are putting these discs together, and putting them out. And I have to imagine that number has grown because Zach's not exaggerating. I mean, they'll have months where it's like between 15 and 25 movies across, they'll have kids movies and exercise videos and then Italian westerns and like just it's across like everything. It's almost like what Anchor Bay was doing in their prime.
It's honestly surprising they don't have a noir box set, do they? Because I feel like they're the only ones that don't, and they have like so much fucking noir now.
Yeah, they should, yeah.
Yeah,
Are
I
they
mean
not the
everybody else
company
has
who
made one.
has, isn't there like a maybe
Not
this is
as
another company, but isn't there like a series of box sets there? It's like Forgotten Noir or something like that, where
Oh
there's
yeah, I
like
mean
fucking
every
5
company
million
has one now.
editions or something.
Yeah, because I know who puts out like Columbia Noir out in Europe.
indicator.
That's Indicator who does that.
Indicator, yeah. I know there's I feel like I'm trying to think of who does it here,
No,
but
Shout has some.
Is doing it now because they're doing their own Shaw Brothers thing too. So
Shaw Brothers too. But
yeah.
no, but you might be thinking of Forgotten Jalo from Vinegar Syndrome. Those are popular.
No,
No,
I know that
Adam's
I know
right.
it's a.
There is a Forgotten Noir. I just can't remember who's putting it out now.
I'm just trying to find it because there's like a million different it's fucking.
No, it's
I've
Kino.
seen.
Oh, do they
It is
actually have a noir
Kino. It
set?
is
Oh,
Kino. Yeah,
never
yeah.
mind.
Phil,
They have
it's
done it.
just
They have
it's
done
like
it.
fucking yeah, volume fucking 18 and shit like
Oh,
that.
this
It's
is the
like
one that's up to 24. Yeah, of course.
yeah,
Oh,
there's like
okay.
a shit ton of volumes, y'all.
I stopped
Yeah.
See,
collecting.
now I just sound dumb because I was sitting there thinking, God, as many noirs as they have, but obviously they were ahead of me there. So
Yeah. They agree with you.
yeah, that they have a ton of them.
I think, yeah, that's right. This is the set that everybody's excited for them to get to 30 so they can see what kind of movies they put on the XXX set because the releases are all in Roman numerals.
That's awesome.
Okay, so 1972, Michael Winner, who is a well-established English director, um, teams up with Charles Bronson. I think someone might correct me, but I think this is the first time they worked together.
When does Death Proof comes out the next year, right?
Death Wish,
Death
yeah.
Wish, Jesus. To me, death movies. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit late. I think maybe 2 years later, but it's yeah. Then Michael Winner stays on for the first three Death Wish movies.
Okay.
But this is it's a movie. It's a more traditional, like new Hollywood type of movie. I'm not going to say it's as good as all the new Hollywood directors. I'm just saying it's in that vein of that kind of gritty, like new Hollywood style. It's about a seasoned hitman training a younger hitman. Um, and it has Charles Bronson in it. It has Jill Ireland again in it. And then what's the kid's name? And this is oh yeah, John Michael Vincent plays.
Jan
Uh,
Michael Vincent's, Michael Down Your Vincent's. Sorry, there's like a fuck. This is such an obscure reference. There's like a random scene in Rick and Morty where it's like a movie of Jan Michael Vincent's, and I didn't even know he was a real dude. I just thought he was like made up by Rick and Morty.
yeah, he
So
was
when
a
I saw Jan Michael Vincent, I was like, holy shit, he's real. Time to Michael Down Your Vincent's. I'll send you guys the clip. You guys put
Thank
that
you.
on.
Because
Fucking
yeah, I was like,
hardcore.
if it's not in that weird Pickle Rick episode, I've never seen it because that's literally the only episode I've ever watched. Because like, and I always told people like, I'll get into it because I like The Simpsons and stuff. And every time I turned it on, it was that fucking Pickle Rick episode. And I was like, obviously, I'm not meant to watch this show because it just keeps showing me this one.
This is a beloved movie. This is in breaking into the 5,000s on They Shoot Pictures, which it's 5,300. I'm not saying it's, gangbusters, but still it's a lot of people like this movie. This movie was remade with what's our boy
Jason Statham
Statham. Yeah. This
and
is
directed by Simon West. That's fascinating. You just
some,
watched Expendables 2. He directed that.
yeah, that's right.
And Con Air, of course, is probably like his most famous.
One of the quietly best movies ever made. But yeah, no, I mean, this is a movie that really ticked a lot of boxes for a lot of people. It was a financial success for the company. This was a movie that this is one of the movies where Bronson was really highlighted as the reason you go watch it. And it worked. A lot of people saw this movie, and it was led to him being a leading man and really demanding this $1 million salary or above. Um, he was at his peak. He was demanding over $2 million a movie, and he was famously very cheap. So he saved a lot of it. And so there's another stories about how his family was surprised by the size of the inheritance and all that. But anyways, The Mechanic is one of the first ones that really made Bronson a bankable star. And so I I know a little bit about what y'all think about this, although I haven't heard the extended version. I just for the sake of putting like a good story or like a good twist on this first, and y'all can correct me if you don't like it, but I think this movie is awesome. I think it follows a lot of the beats that I love in movies. I think it could, it felt at times to me it felt a little bit like The American Friend. I'm not going to say it's same quality or whatever, but it has I think a similar vibe to it. I really like I've always been personally fascinated with serial killer movies. I mean, not serial killer movies. What's this? Uh,
Hitman.
Hitman movies. Like, yeah, like assassins. I've always been fascinated by those stories, especially when they're on the quieter side. Like, this one isn't like it's a guy who's like seen it before. He's been through it. Um, he has a lot of tricks that work for him. He's kind of on the other side of his career. I like the personal side that's brought into this story. I like the way that the arc for the younger kid in the movie I think is done really well. I don't know. I just think this is it's a very well written and constructed movie, and I really liked it. And I could watch this. I don't say anytime, but I could watch it again and again. I think it's a movie that I was excited for y'all to watch. So we'll see what you think formally. But I don't know, Adam. What do you think?
Um, so yeah, I'm sorry, man. Um, the opening of this film wrote a check that the rest of it couldn't cash.
So good. I know.
So the opening of the film is so it's like the samurai, or to give like a more modern example, there was a film called Killer that was put out by David Fincher a couple of years ago. Very similar kind of vibe from the opening's perspective. opening of this film is so good, and I was like, okay, I'm locked the fuck in. We're what? I was like at this point, I'd watched Cold Sweat the day before, and I'm like, oh, it's gonna be another fucking one of these, whatever, whatever. We'll get it out of the way. And movie started, and I was like locked in. I was like, okay, I'm watching a good movie today. This is great. This doesn't happen very often these days. I'm watching a good movie today. And then it's just like, it just went more and more downhill. And I don't think it's a quality issue. I think it's just because I just became less and less interested in what was happening. Um, like especially the whole kind of taking this fucking dipshit kid under his wing who's a fucking asshole. And it's just like I would have preferred the movie just be about Charles Bronson doing cool hits on people. Like as soon as like Jan Michael fucking Vincent, like fuck off. Like well, not him, I guess. His character is just like I don't give a shit about him. He's just this fucking privileged asshole kid. So I pretty much like lost interest in the movie for like the entire movie until like the very end. And then like the very end I liked. Um so there was like 5 minutes that I really liked to start, 5 minutes I really like at the end, and then the rest of the movie I just don't care. I tried really hard to like connect with it, but I was just kind of it got to that point where I'm like, how long's left? How long's left? Um so yeah, and like I said, I don't think it's a quality issue. There's nothing I can really pinpoint that was bad. It's a pretty well made movie. The editing, stuff like that. The performances are pretty fine. There's really nothing that I can recall, and it's been a few weeks since we watched these movies as well.
Yeah.
So it's especially difficult for me to pinpoint stuff I didn't like when the movie left very little impression on me overall. Several weeks after I watched it, if you know what I
Yeah,
mean.
totally.
Um,
Well,
so
check
I'm
this
trying,
out.
I'm trying to, I'm trying to think of a way I can critique it. But the only real way I can critique it is just that I just didn't enjoy myself while I was watching it. There was nothing I took away apart from the opening and apart from the very end. I am actually struggling to even remember scenes during the middle of the movie because that's how little of an impression they left on me. That's how little I kind of connected with it. And I know that's not a great critique because I'm not really critiquing the movie. Um,
No,
but
no,
that's just what I've that's all I could take away from this. It didn't leave an impression on me. Now that very much could be a personal issue that I just didn't connect with it. I didn't vibe with it. Like I said, I didn't really enjoy you know the other 50% of the main cast apart from
right.
Charles Bronson. So I was let down by this because the start of it is so good, and it just went in a direction that I just didn't really have an interest in.
Fair enough. But there's one thing I want to say that I'm not saying this to make you like it better. Just think about it from this angle. I think it would have been a very different movie. So the writer was a guy named Louis John Carlino, and his first draft, even before it went to production, had a homosexual relationship between the kid and Bronson. And it if you so this original intent of this was actually in 1972 or yeah 1972 to show a movie like this with this tough like leading man type role be seduced by a young killer kid and them enter into some kind of a relationship. And I think that would have been a super interesting angle to take a movie like this.
Yeah, like that's all well and good, but they didn't do it,
No, no,
so
no,
it,
I know,
it
I know, I
means
know.
nothing to me.
No, no, I'm not saying that to convince you. I'm just thinking that's an interesting backstory, you know?
I
Like,
wish they were brave enough to do it.
yeah. Well, so apparently people were critical of the film. I guess it was, I don't know what they would have picked up on, but at the time there was some critics saying that this was like a movie that was supporting this kind of homosexual relationship of this kid, which I have a hard time picking that up from the movie at all, but that was a critique of the film when it came out, even with everything taken out. Anyways, I just thought that was an interesting backstory. Like I didn't when I saw that, I had to like think about the movie because I don't remember. I never thought about that at all. But
I
apparently,
guess it's always been some sort of an issue. It's kind of like an old version of like when you hear certain people talk about like Lord of the Rings, they'll always talk about how like
oh,
Frodo and Sam are gay.
true, true, true.
And that's obviously it's under different context and it's a different type of reaction. But I don't know. I think if you have like two men who are the focus of a story and they have kind of a, I guess we use the word vulnerable relationship, it's automatically like, well, that's kind of gay, just automatically.
I guess you're right. Yeah. That's probably what it. That's. I mean, for the end final product that we saw, for anybody to say the critique or to call that out, it would have to be that, right? Because there's nothing. I don't think there's anything implied that I can pick up on from the film. Uh,
No, I took it much more as a father-son relationship than a anything else.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
but I guess I'll kind of get mine out of the way because it really just echoes basically take what Adam said and maybe like lessen the harshness a little bit. But I have pretty much like the same sort of thing. I do think that opening, like I think of the three movies, this film has probably several of the best scenes of the three movies we watched.
Yeah.
Just because that opening is like fantastically done. I don't think anything said for like 8 or 9 minutes of the opening film.
Right.
And it was really cool, like, to think back on it after the film and say, okay, this is all the stuff he's putting together. This is like months of work. And I almost wish it was just like we just concentrate on how he does this. Like we at the beginning we see this and then re I hate to say it because it is the most human part of the element, but I'm in the same kind of boat where it's like I don't really care about this kid all that much. I'd almost just rather watch Bronson do his thing. Like I want to watch him do surveillance almost like it's the conversation or something like that, where we just kind
Mhm.
of like zone in on that. And then we kind of either see him be successful or fail at the end, whichever direction you want to go with that. I get why they did it. I think there is like more of a human story with the way they did it. I just wanted to care more. Like I think the first act and third act are really good, and it's that middle act where I'm kind of with Adam. I zoned out a bit, like of what was going on.
I don't
And
know.
because I think the end action scene is really good. You can tell they kind of saved up to do like everything from like the boat scene on.
Right.
They saved their money to do all that, and it
Right.
paid off.
Yeah. I don't know what made me think about this, but as I was watching it, I was thinking like, man, I would have loved for somebody like Michael Cimino to direct this because he did Thunderbolt and Lightfoot in '74, so it was right around this time.
Dope movie too. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I think, but just like specifically like the human element here, I think he's, the best parts of Deer Hunter are the like the human touches, right? Um, and I don't know. I just thought that might have been a nice way to, or somebody like that to take over in directing this. But
Eh,
I mean, at the same time, I don't really have the same issues, I guess, that y'all are. I thought this movie was excellent, and this is the third time I had seen it, I think, and it gets better to me as it goes along because, um, yeah, I don't know. Like, I think it kind of takes on a little bit of a life of its own. I'm not going to say this is a top 100 movie of all time or anything, but I just really enjoy it. To me,
I
this.
do have a question since both of you and Adam have seen Death Wish much more recently than I have. Does
Mhm.
he have the same sort of like I'm not gonna say issue because I know you don't find as much of an issue, but that sort of does he kind of tackle the more human and emotional elements? Because obviously that's got much more of an emotional element to it, with it being, avenging your dead family sort
I
of
mean,
thing.
not really. And maybe this is just me, but I found Death Wish to be like weirdly cold.
Okay.
Um, you know, and like, especially because the this kind of scene that kicks off Bronson's revenge tour in Death Wish, it's pretty brutal. It's not like, it's not like irreversible or anything. It's not like, it's somewhat tame, but it is relatively brutal. Um, so you would think that there'd be like a bit more of a kind of an emotional beat behind the rest of like the stuff he does in Death Wish, but it all just like very, starts out with the blue, and we never really see Bronson's character kind of tackle this and process what he's doing and stuff. It's very weird. I was kind of disappointed with Death Wish in that aspect because well, first of all, I expected it to just be like a fucking action movie or something. So the fact the fact that he starts as this kind of like mild mannered fucking nerd
An architect, yeah.
threw me off. Yeah, architect nerd, they're all the same. Threw me off a bit. So I was expecting him to kind of like struggle with this journey that he's going on and to kind of look at himself going, what have I become? But he doesn't really do that. He just starts killing buggers and then doesn't really stop until he's stopped.
I mean,
Um,
it's
And that,
it's just all muted, right? Because he has that scene in the bathroom where he's throwing up the first time he kills somebody.
yeah,
It's
exactly.
just
The
not.
first time.
Yeah,
But like then he's the fucking Terminator. You know what I
yeah.
mean? Um,
Adam, have you ever seen James Wan's Death Sentence with Kevin Bacon?
no, no,
I
I have not.
really think you should watch that. I think that would fit because fun fact about Death Sentence, it's actually the Death Wish is based on novels, and
Mhm,
Death
mhm.
Sentence is actually based on the second novel.
Okay.
And it's the only one the author has ever liked. He does not like any of the Death Wish movies, but he loves Death
Yeah,
Sentence because it goes much more like Bacon is putting on a much more emotional performance for that film. It's pretty much the focus of it is like, yeah, he's doing these things, and obviously you want to feel some catharsis for him, but obviously he's making things so much worse, and that's really what the film like concentrates on a lot.
okay, interesting. Yeah, I'll
Th-
have to think about
I
that.
I mean, just very quickly on Death Wish before we go back. So the reason the author didn't like Death Wish was because he made it as an anti-vigilante book.
Oh,
And Death Wish is like pro-vigilante. Like it's almost like a superhero origin story, right?
yeah, yeah, I can see that.
And
Yeah, because
so the
Kevin
director,
Bacon's not looked at nearly as positively in Death Sentence for sure.
okay, yeah. So if there's
Yeah.
any element of like violence being bad, then the author's going to be all on board. But Death Wish is like, hey, check out this badass guy that's like killing bad guys. Um, that was why he didn't like it. Yeah, but I mean, I think in a weird way, I think there's more acting in the mechanic than in Death Wish. Like when
From
I,
my memory, I could say that's true. Yeah, like
yeah,
I still think Bronson does really good in the film. Like obviously he doesn't do as much as like someone behind the door, but
mhm,
he's still doing more than he is in Cold Sweat. So this is
mhm,
kind of like the in-betweener for that.
yeah. Was he? I'm just trying to look at his. Was he still doing westerns around this time? Because he had done.
I think at that point we're moving into just like
Okay,
more American crime films at that
so
time. Let
he
me
did
look.
one last one. I don't know if it's like last one, but one of his last ones called Chato's Land in the same year. And was Red Son a western?
Yeah, I'm gonna see.
Chato's Land was him and also directed by Michael Winner. Jesus.
Yeah.
Him and Jack Palance acting it up, which would have been fun. And Red Sun is a western.
He
What
did
the
Death Hunt in 81. That seems to be the last one.
Oh man, I did y'all wrong. What is this? Red Sun is a movie with in 1870 a gang robs a train and steals a ceremonial Japanese sword meant as a gift for the US president, and it stars Charles Bronson and Toshiro Mifune, and I did not include this.
Damn, dude. And that was in
And
seven. You could have had 371 movies, man.
You
Alain Delon.
bastard.
What the hell? Oh man, I did everybody a disservice here. First, okay. All right, look, I have to apologize to everybody, especially that one guy in Thailand. We could have watched a movie with Charles Bronson, Ursula Andrews, Toshiro Mifune, and Alain Delon.
You're a bastard.
Man.
Adam is so bitter right now.
Oh, also directed by Terrence Young. What the hell? Maybe that would have been a good one from Terrence Young. But I'm gonna go watch this now. I have to see Red Sun. What the hell? The greatest fighting machine the West has ever known.
And Charles Bronson has the mustache. That's what I'm there for. It always like I think that's why I don't rate Once Upon a Time in the West is high. It just bothers me he doesn't have a mustache.
Yeah, yeah, terrible, terrible casting decision.
Yeah, it's like you make him grow it, man.
Oh my gosh, I really did y'all dirty. Um, anyways, so I was just trying to see if he was in it because he's got the perfect like if you think about the stereotypical Western, kind of characters, Charles Bronson fits he checks every box, right?
Well, one thing I wanted to bring up, I'm kind of glad you brought up how he looks because one thing I think with Bronson that makes it interesting, it reminds me a little bit of like John Malkovich in the voice. Like it's very iconic, but it's not as harsh as you would think it would be.
Mm, mm,
Like
mm.
his voice is just not like John Malkovich. I think about that all the time. Like he plays these intimidating characters sometimes, but he does not have an intimidating voice.
No,
He's just got the presence for it. And I
it's
think
100%
Bronson does
presence.
that to a degree as well. Like he brings a lot more intimidation through his presence than he does necessarily through his. Because I mean, his accent, people make fun of all the time. Like
Yeah,
whatever his accent is.
yeah. He's so self-conscious about it. There's a lot of writing about, well, there's some writing about when he was in the army, his accent was so thick, he used to be made fun of for being on the other side.
It's so sad.
Because they didn't speak English at home. So it was like a very Lithuanian home. So he basically sounded Russian, right?
Well, like yeah, like his accent's interesting because it kind of comes in through the nose.
Uh-huh.
And I don't want to call it nasally, but yeah, it almost sounds like some of it's being pushed through the nose to a degree.
Yeah. Well, look, y'all, I mean, the fact that I didn't choose Red Sun, I will forever regret. But I appreciate y'all going through these movies with me. And um, the only thing I'll say about if you ever get a hankering for Death Wish 2 and 3, which I don't think you will, Adam, but they get less, well, they get more unhinged as they go and more
I've
into like,
always heard from people that Death Wish 2 is the best one. Like
yeah,
at least
it's,
people I follow, they say it's the best one.
yeah. And then from there on, it becomes like, not cartoonish isn't fair, but it just becomes very like borderline silly. Like,
It,
he's,
it comes the fifth entry in a movie that started in the 1970s.
yeah, yeah,
It just sounds like it'll probably go like obviously I watched Rambo recently, like the first Rambo movie,
yeah,
and
yeah,
I
yeah.
like watched that and I wonder how it becomes an action franchise.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I assume
Watch
Death Wish
Rambo
will
4.
probably do something similar.
Dude, they're all, yeah. I'm,
Cameron writes the second one, and it's very obvious he does because what is it? I think there's one person that dies in First Blood, and then
yeah.
it's like 70 or 80 people in First Blood Part 2 that get killed. It's like, Cameron started writing. That's cool.
Yeah, no, that's a good example. The other one is that I always think of is Dirty Harry. That series, it just goes crazier and crazier with each entry.
Yeah, and I still haven't watched all of it. I've been very slowly watching Dirty Harry. I finally watched the second one for the first time like a month or two ago.
I think it's great.
Yeah, I really enjoyed two. I didn't obviously it's not as good as the first one. But I'm
Yeah,
curious to go in and get to Jim Carrey.
yeah, I was about to say it's either three
And
or four.
Liam Neeson, I think, shows up in one of them as well.
Oh, speaking of that, so oh damn it, we didn't cover Death Wish officially, even though we unofficially are just talking about it enough. But it was interesting in Death Wish seeing Jeff Goldblum play like a character straight out of what's that Kubrick movie with the psychopath?
Clockwork
Uh,
Orange.
Oh,
Clockwork
there you go.
Orange. Yeah, Goldblum plays a great young psychopath.
I love that, Adam. I loved your reaction to that. It's like, who is this Jeff Goldblum like guy? And I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, this fucking weirdo looks like Jeff Goldblum. I was like, as it is.
Yeah, he does it well. But yeah, thank you all for going on this journey. I think to me, Charles Bronson is, I guess, like it's kind of sentimental for me because I grew up, my grandfather watched so many westerns and um like man movies. That was like his thing, he was really big into these like man movies. And so I just am a little sentimental towards Bronson. And we don't really have actors that are like, I don't know. This type of character doesn't really exist. I feel like
I mean, I think your closest is Statham, right? So I guess casting him for the remake makes sense.
Statham does a good job of it. But
Yeah.
yeah, like there is this sense, I feel like with Statham and with Bronson and with Clint Eastwood, it was like this rugged American ideal of like a man, what a man could be or should be, that wasn't tied to politics. Like you never got into whether they were Democrat or Republican or whatever. They just like it was just about being like a man. And that whole idea has become like made fun of and stuff now. And
Well, yeah, it's we're much more in a deconstruction type of that thing, right? Like, because you look into it's hard to play. I guess not, I wouldn't say hard to play it sincere, but it's a lot less likely to see it done sincerely.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though I think it could work, I think there is like, it's a rule of cool. Like sometimes I think certain studios don't know how to do cool anymore. I think that's why Marvel's struggling so bad with making a Blade movie. They don't really understand how that works.
Yeah,
How do you make a cool character?
like Ron Swanson's probably the most modern version of this that we have, right?
Yeah.
In Parks and Rec. He was
Yeah.
he did it very well. Um, but anyways, he's a relic, but I think he's one that I don't know. His movies all stand out. They're unique, and I think he, unlike Clint Eastwood, Bronson a lot more of his movies go into like campy territory. He was much more about just collecting the check. Like he was a workman actor. And in fact, he intentionally didn't work with directors that snubbed him early in his career. So he's just an interesting guy, like a very complex. Well, I guess not complex. he's just an he's just an angry
What you
guy.
see is what you get with
Yeah,
Bronson.
yeah. He just, he got turned away, and he was a poor actor in his 20s and 30s, and he held on to that. He remembered the directors that wouldn't work with him, and he refused to work with them later in his career once he became a star. So he was just I don't know. I guess he had integrity, good or bad. But I appreciate y'all doing this. What's next for us?
Oh, I guess it's up to
So
me. It's me, right? Or is it
no,
you,
I
Ad?
think it's me. Yeah, it's
Oh,
me.
okay.
I have them picked and all ready to go. Um, so I suppose to kind of end this episode, to let listeners know, myself and my wife are expecting another baby soon. Um,
Yay.
yeah, so that means I'll be going on another hiatus, a kind of indefinite one with two babies running around. So I don't know when I'll be back. So with this being like my last pick for the foreseeable, I thought I would just kind of I'm not picking like three movies that have like a common theme. The common theme is just directors that I like. Um, these are not deep cuts that we're going to be watching or anything like that. It's just three movies by three guys that I like. These are it's one movie each from my top three directors. So I'll give you a chance to like guess who the directors are. I won't make you guess the movies, but if you want to guess the
Bergman.
directors, Bergman's in there, yeah.
Hitchcock.
Hitchcock is in there, yeah. So who's the
Hmm.
third?
Please say it's not Godard.
No, no, no.
Okay, thank God.
Your
Hmm.
favorite directors probably also include, let's see. Um,
Oh, Lang.
No, he would just miss out on
Ah,
my top three.
Fuller?
No,
Hmm.
Truffaut.
you're overthinking it.
Never
It's
thinking
not
it.
like a deep cut director here. We've covered at least one of his movies.
Hitchcock and what's the other one? Hitchcock.
Bergman.
Yeah, Hitchcock and Bergman, and I don't know. As soon as you say it, I'm gonna be like, oh yeah, of course. Clint Eastwood.
No.
That's more me.
No, I know. I'm just kidding. Who is it, Adam?
Yeah, David Lynch.
Oh,
Oh, Jesus, I feel dumb.
Yeah. So we're gonna cover one film each from these guys. So the Hitchcock movie we're gonna watch is we've already done my two favorite Hitchcock movies, Vertigo and Shadow of a Doubt. So my third favorite Hitchcock movie is Strangers on a Train.
nice.
Strangers on a Train. So we're gonna watch Strangers on a Train.
Which
Okay.
one? Wait. Which one was the one we watched? Was it Film Club pick that we did for Hitchcock? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'm
it was
killing my
Vertigo and Shadow of a Doubt were the
Shadow of a
two.
Doubt was the
We
other one.
did them
Okay, I
in
couldn't
yeah,
remember.
we did them in the same episode. So
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Continue.
So
I just couldn't remember all right
no,
off.
all good. So yeah, so Strangers on a Train is a Hitchcock movie we're gonna do. The Bergman film that we're gonna do, I was tossing it up between a few, and I was trying to decide. I was trying to land on one that I think we'd all enjoy, and I ended up going with Shame. So we're gonna watch
Oh, nice,
Shame,
nice, nice.
and then the David Lynch film we're gonna do is his most underrated movie, in my opinion. Zach will have a different opinion, but my opinion, his most underrated movie, one that I love very dearly, Lost Highway.
Damn it, it
Um,
wasn't Wild at Heart.
No, unfortunately not. I do like Wild at Heart. I have watched it relatively recently. I do like Wild at Heart. And I would agree it's very underrated. But I think Lost Highway is like for me, near masterpiece
It'd be good
level.
because I actually
So
did watch this and I really didn't know how I felt about it. So I'll actually be really glad to revisit this one.
cool. So just to reiterate then, so Strangers on a Train, Shame by Bergman, not Steve McQueen. The director Steve McQueen, not the actor Steve McQueen. Um, and Lost Highway. So
Okay.
that's what we're gonna come back with probably in a couple of weeks' time. And until then, we'll see you guys on the other side, I guess.
All right.
And we'll be thinking in the meantime about what Zach and I are going to do the first week you're gone. But you're going to be here for the one episode and then one more after that, right?
I'll be here for this one and one more, and then I will evaporate into the night, which is unfortunate because
I
it's
get to
just
you get to end on
before.
me.
Yeah, we get to end on you, so like this is your time, like to make me watch some movies. So you have a real chance here to kind of decide how my time on the podcast
Oh,
ends for the
Zach, please do the
foreseeable.
Man Behind the Sun trilogy.
I'm just a bit sad I'll miss the annual Halloween run through of
I know.
whatever bullshit. But I suppose you guys can watch whatever fucking
Oh,
bullshit sleazeball
all right.
series.
Female prisoner scorpion. Here we come.
I've actually the first one's on my watch list and need
It's
to get
good.
around to it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
All right.
Okay. Well, we'll be thinking. Thanks, Adam. Thanks, Zach.
See y'all.
Thank you for listening. To hear more shows from the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network, please select the link in the description.
If you're looking for more horror outside of the mainstream, look no further than Unsung Horrors, a podcast about underseen horror movies. I'm Lance.
And I'm Erica. Every other week, we'll cover a horror movie with fewer than 1,000 views on Letterboxd. We'll even give you double feature recommendations to pair with the movies we discuss.
From gothic to shot on video, from slashers to comedies, from giallo to J-horror, we'll cover all the subgenres. So join us as we unearth these hidden gems of horror.
Follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, all at Unsung Horrors, available wherever you listen to podcasts. And part of the Someone's Favorite Productions podcast network.